I have walked out on a pool deck and been like, excuse me. And it didn't go over very well, so I didn't do that again.
No, I would love to have seen that.
Excuse me.
Welcome to Fit2B Radio. Slip on your minimal sneakers, notch your headphones into your ears, tuck your smartphone into your pocket, and take us along for a walk while we talk. Or just grab a cup of your favorite drink and get on the floor and stretch a bit while we bring you all things fitness, core, and diastases recti related.
Okay, I'm recording, guys, so don't interrupt me, okay? I love you, but don't talk to me.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fit2B Radio. My name is Chris Banky. I'll be your host today, and I've got with me Beth Learn, the CEO and founder of Fit2B Studio. And today's cool because today is the wrap-up of season 1 of this podcast, episode number 52, 52 episodes. That's a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Beth, what do you think about doing 52 episodes in a podcast?
Sometimes I think that it took a long time, and other times I'm like, how did we ever find time to do 52 podcast episodes in the last year and a half? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
But here we are.
I'm not sure.
Here we are.
What went right off? What I want to know is what was surprising or went better than you thought with a podcast? Because we'd never done it before.
Right. Well, we hadn't done it before, and something that surprised me was how easy it was for us to get such stellar content and amazing guests, and just reaching out to people. Of course, I always try to pick people that are passionate about their message, people that are not in it, how many followers do you have? I'm not going to be on your show unless you're as good as me. It's people who are truly in the trenches and love being there because they love helping people. And so that actually surprised me and gave me more and more confidence to keep reaching out to more and more awesome people as we continued the podcast. And now I'm even more excited for the next season.
Yeah, it was a little surprising to me too. Like you say, hey, let's start a podcast. What are we going to talk about? I don't know. There's a lot. And then you get a few episodes in and you're like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. But then you get these guests and they just always have such incredible insight into so many things. There's a lot to cover. So let me do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to scroll through the whole list. Scrolling.
Yeah, let's go through them.
Scrolling. Okay. I'm going to rapid fire these.
Okay.
And then you are going to say, oof, I want to talk about that.
Okay.
And then we can talk about it, and then we'll link to these in the show notes. And there's a lot of good stuff. So if you're just listening to this for the first time, or you've only heard a couple episodes, you're coming in at episode 52, and there's 51 other episodes that are absolutely incredible, not to mention next season, which is going to be even better. So you ready?
Yeah.
You want to rapid fire this thing?
Season 1 in review.
Season 1 in review. Ready? The one about us.
Ready.
The one about diastases. The one about running.
Well, I mean, that's a given.
The one about
diastases, that's a given. Mm-hmm.
So the one about diastases, that was episode 2. And we're still like, that was a good one because we're still like trying to figure out how to record a podcast. But you know that content so well, it doesn't really matter. Like we could have recorded the podcast while driving, on a curvy road in the middle of nowhere, and you'd still know the content. So that's a fun one because it's like the juice of Fit2B in a lot of ways, right?
Yes. Yeah, and it gets it all right out there. But then every podcast after that, we always kind of connect it back to that topic. And in season 2, we won't be doing that quite as much. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So again, let's go listen to season 1 if you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a slacker. Get it done. And listen to it all. Okay.
That would be a key episode. Yeah.
Let's go. The one about running, the one about hormones with Dr. Michelle, the one about race walking, the one about friendships with Alice Banky, the one where we interviewed Diva Cup. Now that one's funny to me. I got to stop right there. So we named it the one where we interviewed Diva Cup, like we're interviewing a Diva Cup. And that's another one. There's many of these, but that's one where I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
So it was interesting for me.
Uh-huh. I think I remember you saying that you thought it was a fancy kind of ice cream cone.
No, I assumed by the way you were talking what it was, but I said it sounds like a fancy ice cream cone, the kind that you'd pay like $6 for, and it'd be like, you know, next to the Haagen-Dazs, but it'd be even better because it's like the Diva Cup. But that's not what it is. So check that one out if you're brave. The one about busy moms with Beth Jones. The one about bendy gymnasts with Lorraine Scapins. Bendy gymnasts. That was another one that was fun to name. Bendy gymnasts. Yeah. So what do you like about that?
Well, she's a mama of a couple of gymnastic girls, very, very bendy girls. And she's also a person who I consider a professional expert in the field of core fitness and diastases recti related things.
Yep.
So that was very insightful because she is living it out with her kids, trying to protect their cores while also letting them chase their dreams. So it's a very good balanced episode.
Right. Yeah, it was a good one. Okay. Episode 10, the one with the vagina coach, Kim Vopney. So that's another one where you're naming it and you're like, are you serious right now? Excuse me, the vagina coach?
Yeah. Right.
That was a pretty good one, though. The one about strong
it was.
with Adriana Lozada. Yep.
Yeah.
The one about grit being bogus with Lynn Lindbergh. Now, that one I'm not totally in agreement with. I feel like grit is super important, but she didn't say it wasn't important. But that's actually a good one to go listen to because it might stimulate something. I'm going to show you something. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, and while you're getting that, I just want to say, like, we're kind of glossing over a lot of podcasts, and they're all amazing. But like in our brains, there's certain standouts. Like I love the one about friendship with me and Alice. And if you really want insight into like how friendship plays out in fitness, and also some of my background and the founders of Fit2B and our backgrounds of friendship and how this business was born out of that friendship, that's kind of a fun one to listen to. Like they're all great. I love all of them, but there's definitely ones that are like, whoa. And the one about the vagina coach is one of those, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, half the world's population has one.
Yeah, it's about 50%. So that applies to everybody because either you've got one or you know someone that does. So anyway,
or you came out of one.
This book, Angela Duckworth, Grit, The Power, I can't read it backwards, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. I had just read this book, which has nothing to do with fitness or Fit2B, and it really impacted me. And then like 2 weeks later, we had that one with her. So you guys need to all go listen to it. It's pretty good. And I do agree with a lot of what she was saying. So, here you go. Ready? The one with the male midwife. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
That was interesting.
There's only 200 of them in America. At least at the time we recorded, there was only 200. And so that is a very unique perspective to hear from a man. And midwife just means with women. And so it's somebody who serves women throughout their childbearing years, essentially. And he is a guy, and he's married, he has kids, but that is his job. And so, wow, that is a powerhouse episode. Mm-hmm.
And why? So here's a question for you. Why is it? I'm not going to ask why is it that there's so few, because I think that's pretty obvious. But why is it so fascinating? Why did you find it so fascinating to talk to him?
Well, first of all, the midwifery model of care is very different than the obstetric model of care. The classic, like surgeons delivering babies. Now, I had my babies with an OBGYN who is also a surgeon, and that worked for me. The midwifery model of care is different. They still can deliver in hospitals. A lot of them deliver at home. He does work in a clinic. So it not only is a midwifery model of care regaining momentum right now, and is not the most common model of women's wellness. So that makes it unique. But then to have a guy that is offering that and that is specially trained in that and is so good at what he does. And that guy also understands diastases and core fitness stuff.
Yeah, it's a good combo.
And then pulls it all together. So yeah, it'll blow your mind.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a super good one. Okay, episode 14, the one with rapid fire at best. That one was just
which was like this.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, a lot, like 30 or 40 questions. That's actually a pretty good one. 15, the one about depression with Dr. Hyatt. 16, the one about perimenopause with Dr. Jessica Drummond.
Okay, that one was awesome. Yeah, and that rang my bell because that's the season I'm in. I am what you would call perimenopausal. So I have not hit menopause yet, but I am actively working in the season before menopause to prime my body to go through menopause gracefully. And that's what we talked about in that is we don't have to just sit around waiting for menopause to happen and just deal with it. We can actually do things in the 10 or 15 years prior to menopause that will bless and benefit our body. So that's another key one. If you're between the ages of 35, you're between 35 and 50 and you have not hit menopause yet, please, please, please make that a priority to listen to.
Or if you're any other age, also listen to it. Episode 17, the one about taping and stem cells with Julie Tupler. Now that one was interesting because taping and stem cells, like it's weird to think how that could go together. And this taping is like not videotaping. This is like taping. Like
this is using like kinesio tape. Because Julie is one of the pioneers of diastases recti rehab. She's been at it longer than most people. And she has done some really interesting research with several universities. And most recently with kinesio tape and injecting stem cells, taking stem cells out of your body, not somebody else's body, your body, and reinserting them into the linea alba, which is the part of the fascia that gets stretched out and thinned, to see how that affects
crazy
healing.
It's a super cool one.
Yep.
The one about ab splinting with Celeste Goodson, the one about track and field with Rachel Zupke, the one about rubber chickens. Okay. That was with Michelle Lyons. Okay, you just we don't even need to say anything, just go watch that.
I know, right?
The one about CrossFit.
We did 3 with Michelle and they're all good.
The one about CrossFit with Brianna is good too, because CrossFit's so popular and it's so a lot of people are getting injured from doing CrossFit incorrectly. So that one's a really good one.
Yeah, and Brianna has an excellent course, and there is a nice, there's codes and discounts in all of our podcasts. So if something's resonating with you in the podcast, we always link you to the person who's talking and resources that they provide, because we can't do it all. I cannot do it all, people. I cannot be good at all the things. So I'm glad to have colleagues that are good at other things. And Brianna is definitely one of those people. And if you like to lift weights or do CrossFit, that is your episode.
Yeah, get it. Go listen to it. Or if you don't like to lift weights, also go listen to it. Okay, the one with the busy mom, mom blogger, Bethany Vitaro. So that's pretty interesting because, I mean, she's the only one that's busy. None of the other people that listen to this show are busy.
None of us. Well, and we did a couple episodes like that. We did one about busy moms in terms of business moms with Beth Jones. You already mentioned that one. And then we have this one because most women all moms are working moms in some way or another. And fitting fitness into that is hard. So those are episodes that address those things.
And then we got episode 23, the one about kettlebells with Haley Shivner. And you are a kettlebell.
I love Haley.
Person. Okay, Haley. And then
I'm trying to be a kettlebell person. I have a love-hate relationship with kettlebells.
Well, you have like a 700-pound one that you just got, right?
Green Gertie. I have green. I call her Green Gertie because she's green and she weighs 60 pounds. And I'm slowly reaching an agreement with her.
That's heavy. That is super heavy. How about this? The one with the Amish midwife with Kim Osterhalzer.
Oh, yeah. Again, a unique perspective. Again, with a midwife. Again, working in a very unique way. So, I mean, the Amish midwife, I don't need to say any more. Go listen.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. The one about holy yoga with Christina Emraz. The one about healers with Lisa Holland. Okay, that's halfway. We're halfway through.
Okay, that's halfway. All right, well, wait, I have to go back to the holy yoga thing because even just recently, there was a very debate-stimulating post put up by a very popular Christian mom blogger about yoga and how it is terrible. And I suppose it can be just like everything else. But there is also this brand of yoga out there known as holy yoga, and they offer a very balanced perspective. And so if you're looking for perspectives on that particular discussion, I don't want to say argument or debate for this because I feel like it is a discussion. And I feel like if we start ruling out everything that has quote unquote pagan root, then we probably shouldn't get out of bed in the morning. We shouldn't even have beds because some pagan at some point had a bed. So, you know, it's like, let's have the discussion and then let's follow our beliefs. And it's very important that you do that. So that we would definitely dive into the spiritual and religious discussion in that podcast. So if that's interesting to you, then have at it.
Okay. And then we have episode 27. This one came from a bet because I said there's no way you can do an entire episode about squats. And you said, yes, we can. So episode 27 is the one about squats with Seth and Chris.
I could probably do 5 episodes about squats.
Yeah, that would be a challenge.
That would be boring though. We're not going to do that. If you want squats, just work out with me on Fit2B. Actually do the squats with me. Let's stop talking about the squats and let's do the squats. We've got lots of great squatting workouts.
Okay, episode 28, the one about young female athletes with Dr. Julie Granger. That's pretty good.
All I'm going to say is if you've got a girl, if you've got a female in your house, if you know a female, a young female, you need to listen to that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, how about the one about pelvic organ prolapse with Hiba Shahid?
Okay, that was seriously one of my favorites because again, such a unique perspective. Hiba Shahid is she lives in Australia, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, and she has a very unique perspective, unique background, and when if you were to just look at her, you might have some stigmas and some stereotypes that would get in the way of thinking that she is as smart and as intelligent. I mean, and I'm just confessing my own biases. She blew me out of the water before I even had her on the podcast, and her work with women is incredible. And she has such a concise way of talking about all of our bits and parts as women and how to support them. Oh, that was such a good episode.
So interesting. Interesting to talk about the cultural differences and how they play into this stuff. Okay. Episode 30, the one about essential oils with Kayla Faramonte. Everybody's doing the essential oil thing. The one about lies with Nora Matthew. The one about music with Caitlin Brunner.
Okay, polyvagal theory. If you're curious, and that is essentially the concept that the vagus nerve in your body innervates both your jaw, your throat, your voice, but also your breathing diaphragm and then your pelvic floor muscles. And so when you're not singing right, how does that affect your pelvic floor? When your pelvic floor is not strong, how does that affect your singing or your talking? And how does your breathing impact both your singing and your pelvic floor? And Catherine and I went into some of that, and she sang. It was great.
Okay, episode 33, the one about hysterectomy with Jennifer Burrell.
Oh, okay. So I am going to see Jenny next week, and I'm so excited I stuttered her name because it's like Jenny. She is the founder of Braille Education, and I'm speaking at her Woman on Fire event in England next week. And of course, you have no reference of time when you're listening to this, so that would be the end of April 2019. And she's just a powerhouse of knowledge about third age, meaning the age after you're done having kids. So if you are in menopause, entering menopause, and if you are considering hysterectomy and or you've had a hysterectomy, please, 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 please listen to that one.
Yeah, it's good. She's definitely knows her stuff. 34, the one about birth control with Nicole Barotti. 35, the one about joint replacement with Jill Miller. 36, the one about Pilates with Carolyn Anthony. 37, the one about postpartum with Leah Outen.
That was a huge one. The one about postpartum. Okay, so we have gotten so much good feedback on that one. If you know somebody who's going to have a baby, if you are going to have a baby, that's such a beautiful podcast with so much usable, immediate information on how to support the first few days and weeks postpartum and how to have a good baby moon, right? How to give yourself permission to rest, how to take care of yourself, how to take care of another new mom. So good.
Such a big difference being prepared versus just kind of going in and just seeing how it goes. Which is what almost everyone does. Okay, check this out, right? The one about constipation with Michelle Lyons. Another one that's like, what? Are you for real right now?
I know. We have Michelle Lyons back a lot. She's going to be back in season 2 a lot. She's probably my favorite guest expert. Super easy to talk to. She's great about taking real life, the most difficult conversation pieces, and she just talks about them like she's your auntie sitting right there telling you all about it. And I get to see her next week too. Yes. So much science.
That's the difference. She doesn't just talk and complain. She like knows from a physical standpoint. Okay. The one about regenerative medicine with Dr. Ryan Wood. So that was a very interesting. Talk with that about with your. He
is one of my doctors. Stuff. Yes, he is one of my doctors. He helped me through my spine surgery a couple years ago now, almost. And he is at the forefront of some pretty interesting research. Again, with stem cell, using your own stem cells to deal with really severe injuries.
Yeah. All right. Episode 41, the one for guys with Dr. Susie Gronsky. Episode 42, the one about cancer with Mary Vidal. The one about research with Grania Donnelly.
Oh, yes.
So that one's
and we
cool
are doing research with her.
Yes.
And that we basically overviewed a bunch of research on diastases in that one.
Yeah. So if you like the facts and the figures and the statistics and things, go listen to that one. It is packed with legit info. How about the one about footwear with unshoes? That was pretty good.
That is so fun. I have unshoes. I have a couple different pairs of unshoes. I really like them. And it was fun to interview the founder of such a popular shoe brand that is really cutting edge when it comes to the minimalist shoe movement. And here that he, like all of our guests, has a very balanced perspective. It's not all or nothing.
Right. And it's interesting. You think, how could you be cutting edge when you're talking about unshoe? Like, it's just like, that's the opposite of technology. That's just not true. Like, the materials and how things are made to make something so that it works well with your foot is difficult. So that's an interesting one. I like that one. The one about hypopressives with Kim Vopny, the one about physiotherapy with, I forget how to say her name.
One about what?
Physiotherapy, episode 46.
That one was awesome. Yeah. Wait, I want to go back. I want to go back to the one about guys, because the takeaway in my brain from that one is we learned some things about male pelvic health, but specifically prostate cancer and the fallout of having prostate surgery. Just like a lot of women don't understand the fallout of having a hysterectomy, and they go into it blind, and then things start to come unraveled. It's the same with guys, and Dr. Susie works specifically with men, and she has some stories that will motivate men and the people who love them to take better care of stuff and to know what to do if they do need prostate surgery.
And she's another one.
I keep saying so good. They were all good.
Really knows her stuff. Okay, we're almost there. The one about how birth affects bodies. The one about weight loss. The one about women's hearts. And the one about interstitial cystitis. Did I say it right? I had to say that one
yes,
a bunch.
you did. And the gal we interviewed for that, oh my gosh, my brain just went blank.
Nicole.
Yes. Wow. Sorry, Nicole, if you're listening to this. Yep. Whoa. And I'm just going to say, hey, I mean, I follow you on Instagram, Nicole, and right now, as we record this, she is at the Capitol of the United States, and she's part of a special panel that is really looking into interstitial cystitis and its ramifications for all things in the pelvis and in the body at the federal level. So how awesome is that? She's very much involved in affecting the conversation. And then, another one with Michelle with the women's hearts, which, we talk about women's hearts. It's like, oh, okay, another conversation about heart disease, but she applies it to fitness. And an interesting tidbit from that one was how a woman's trunk rotation, so our ability to rotate our upper body, is directly related to our susceptibility to heart problems, essentially. So I found that really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, what were your favorites?
I don't know.
Now that we read through all of them.
Yeah, overall, there weren't really any that weren't really good. I think what I liked about the whole season was I did really feel like in the first 5 or 6 podcasts that we're recording, like we were going to run out of relevant topics because, you had this thing that you really wanted to tie everything back to after season fitness and things. And I'm just like, how do you do that? And what's interesting is when you are talking about the core, you kind of can cheat and tie everything to it. So everything is related to it. So I liked that. And I liked that the guests that we were able to interview were actually experts in those fields. They weren't just passionate, bloggers that have big mouths and write well. They actually knew what they were talking about. And that was really cool. Because there's so much with the internet, you kind of, it wasn't like this 30 years ago, but it is like this now where there's no topic you can't find information on. And there's incredible good information about virtually every topic, but it's not really, there is no real qualifying way or tool you can use to actually have discernment about what content's actually very valid and relevant and healthy and right and correct and true. And you can't rely on sites like Wikipedia or anything like that because it's all user-generated content. So for us to be able to kind of create a podcast and go out and say, we're going to go find the top people in the world in each of these areas and talk to them, it makes it so that this podcast is now a source of reliable information about all these topics. And obviously we are 1 season in, we have 52 episodes, so I'd say there's probably 35 to 40 topics because we tackle certain things different ways. So we obviously aren't covering everything, but the things that we're covering in this podcast are true and reliable information from the top people in their field. And that was really cool to be able to tackle that. And in season 2, I love the transition that we're doing, and I love the direction that we're going. I think it'll be even more enriching to the people that are listening. And so I'd love for you to kind of tell me what that is for season 2. Like, what is the vision for season 2?
Well, I mean, you already know, but yeah. I wrestled with this for a while. And I think it was just last week I finally had the words to say what was churning around inside of me, because that's how it works with me. There's this fluttering of ideas, and then eventually they all kind of siphon down and settle. And what I would really like to do, and what we're planning at this point, is a season that is all about multidimensional wellness, and still very much about fitness and women's health, men's health too, the core, but exploring more, even more than we already have done, topics that connect the dots for people along the lines of the biopsychosocial model And like I said, multidimensional wellness, meaning we know there's about 6 different dimensions. Biopsychosocial kind of boils it down to mostly 3, but those all expand. But when I think of true wellness, I think of physical, yes, but also emotional, mental, spiritual, social, and environmental. There's 6 things. And if you have one of those out of whack, they all tumble. And it's like a domino effect. Somebody recently said, actually, I think it was Anthony Lowe, and I would love to get him on. Okay. So he is great for a good debate. And he has a unique way of looking at things. So get ready. But he said last night in a live interview as part of the Birth Healing Summit, look, if we're just going to focus on the physical part of people, then we might as well put them under anesthesia while we work on their bodies all the time. We might as well, knock them out and then move them, because we're not actually trying to connect with them emotionally, mentally, spiritually, whatever.
Right.
And he said it differently, but that resonated with me, because when I connect with a client, either online or in person, I am trying to not just see what their body is doing, but where is their mind at, and where is their spirit at, and what are their struggles, and what's getting in the way of them reaching their goals. And so we actually have already recorded an episode that we want to use for next season. And we were going to put it in with our podcast. And then I realized, wait, this is a clear delineation moment where we can say this will fit with season 2. And it's an episode we recorded with Sarah Smith, who has contributed to our Fit2B Girls course. And we talked about things that have to do with this urgency, the sense of urgency. And she had some really good analogies for how that can play into our wellness and fitness. And her contribution to our girls course is stellar. And this podcast is amazing. And there's a beautiful free download that she's including for people. But we're gonna hold on to that, and that's gonna be one of our first podcasts for season 2. So you can still expect like concrete evidence-based information on health and wellness and fitness. But we are going to dabble a little bit, even more so, into life application and, again, biopsychosocial models, meaning bodies and psychology and sociology and social circles, and because we're not just created to be alone, we're created for community, I believe. So
right.
All of that. Yeah.
All of that. Just all of that.
All that.
No big
all
deal.
That and a bag of chips.
I'm pretty excited to dig into it. We'll probably do another 52 episodes, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting. I like the direction change. I think that you're just about to head overseas to go speak, and I think that we're going to be able to get some great connections and be able to speak to some of those people that you're going to be in contact with.
I'm going to be networking
on this podcast. So it's going to be a pretty exciting another year and a half, I think. So get ready. So if you're just listening to this again, you just tuned in for the first time, or happen to download this, episode as your first one, and you're like, this is kind of lame because they're not really talking about anything. Fear not. Go back and start at episode 1. Go through every single one. You will not regret it. And then you'll just be getting started, and you'll be ready for season 2. And then we're going to link to, some of the ones that we touched on in this episode. But, honestly, they're all really super good. And, we didn't even record any that we had to throw out. It's interesting. Before we started this, I remember you and I were talking, and we're like, well, what if someone sucks or they say things that are insane? They say, well, we just don't use it. Like, we just don't have to put it up because they're not recorded live. They're recorded a couple of weeks before they go live usually. But you know what? We didn't have a single guest that sucked.
No.
So that was cool. We'll see if that happens for season 2. I don't know. Maybe we'll have some.
I think it will.
We'll keep highlights, and we'll have a suck reel. But until then, everybody's been amazing. And I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, we plan to start putting those out probably early fall of 2019. We're gonna take some time off and round up guests and experts and clear our brains and finish some other projects. Good grief, we've got like 5 other projects we need to finish.
Yeah,
some new courses to put out. Yeah, only 5. Probably not like 25.
Good. Okay. Well,
never a dull moment.
So Beth, what
it.
is your favorite exercise right now?
I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. Right now, my favorite thing is the yoga tune-up balls. We recorded the one about joint replacements with Jill Miller, and she's the founder of Tune-Up Fitness. And I got to go to her workshop in Santa Cruz with Katie Bowman and talk about dynamic aging for people with joint replacements, because I have one in my neck. And that way of moving right now, I really like it. And I move lots of other ways too. But I really like working with her balls in this particular season I'm in. It's fun.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. So for me, I have been, over the winter, I've been using a spin bike in our house. And now that it is not 3 feet of snow on the ground, which is not normal for here. So we had a massive amount of snow for a long time, and it is gone now, mostly, 80%, 90%. I am out cycling, and I have 2 different bicycles that I do 2 different styles of riding, and it's been really super good. It's still pretty cold, so you like freeze your ears off, and I am bald, so had really like I have to wear a hat underneath helmet because there's just no hair. There's just no hair there. But no, that's been really good, and I'm looking forward to doing some more of that. Good.
That's
it's
good.
going to be a good year.
Well, I love how we talk to people, and this happened with Michelle too, and myself and you, from season to season, our interests change. They have to. And part of staying active for life is being willing to try new things, shift gears, use a different mode of exercise, go for walks when it's nice outside, go for a bike ride.
Yeah.
Being able to work out indoors, which is what we specialize in, is stuff that you can do at home. Home workouts. We have over 200 of them now. Can you believe it? And we just released the first 2 purple workouts that match my purple hair. That's going to be red soon, and we'll do the red workouts, and it's going red for Women on Fire. Got a whole theme going on. We're creative. We got to be creative to stay active.
There's no excuse nowadays to not work out, because there are incredible resources like our website where we have people from all over the world doing workouts and also taking courses. We have all kinds of courses and workouts. And there's YouTube, and there's just no flipping excuse. So when people are like, oh, I've just been, kind of waiting for spring. No, that's lame, actually. Yeah. You need to go to Fit2B and sign up and start working out. And if that's not your thing, there's other resources. So you still don't have an excuse, even if you don't like us.
Yeah.
But you will. Yeah. So definitely sign up.
Even if you only got 5 minutes.
Do something.
Yep.
Yeah, we actually have workouts that are 5 minutes. All the way from 5 minutes to well over an hour. So
always hear from people that I just do the 5 minutes, and I love the 5 minute ones because sometimes that's all I want to do. And then I do one and I decide to do more, and I end up doing 3 or 4 5 minute routines. And then I decide to do a stretching routine. And before I know it, I've done a whole workout, and I'm kind of sweaty, and it feels good. So we're all about that. We're all about making fitness feel good.
Good. All right. So on that, this is the end of season 1. I'm pumped to see what happens for season 2. And we'll do probably the same thing we did before, where we kind of do a recap mid-season. And I think it's going to be even cooler than season 1, which is awesome. Amazing, because season 1 was incredible. So we will
look out
in the podcast.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Okay, friends and fans, if our podcast floats your goat, you should subscribe to Fit2B Radio, and also follow us on Twitter at Fit2B, on Instagram at Fit2B Studio, and on Facebook via Fit2B Tummy Safe Fitness. That's my rooster. I'd also love for you to join Fit2B.com so you can work out with me. Plus, that's how we pay our bills that keep our lights on, providing family-friendly workouts that help you make a strategic return to fitness. See you there.